What's up, fam? I hope everybody is well and enjoying this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. What is this? It's Tuesday.
I guess I'm losing
It's
track of
two.
days.
Okay.
I'm losing track of
Yeah.
days.
Yeah. Just I'm trying to keep up with the day, but just doing the best I can. But I guess y'all get on my nerves. So I guess it's kind of
The feeling is
okay.
mutual.
All right. Well, thank you for being respectful to the man of God. Okay.
Just honest. It's
Okay.
honesty. Honesty.
Cause I don't like ugly, no, that don't you? But anyway, how y'all doing? We're here. It's today is March 97th, and I know that
March 97th.
yeah, March 97th. You slow, yeah, and hopefully tomorrow's gonna be April 1st, April Fool's Day, and really it seems like the whole first quarter's been April Fool's
Oof,
quarter. I mean, it's just been a crazy quarter. I mean, I don't know. Somebody really made
oof.
2020 mad. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. But we're still here. We're still here. We're blessed, and I still believe it's going to be a great year. And even though you're quarantined, some great things are happening, and you get some rest. I mean, it's been a blessing. She's cooked more the past 2 weeks than she has in 25 years of marriage. So sometimes God,
Changing my testimony.
as a strength, she's been giving the prophet some. I got some grits 2 or 3 times last week. So the Lord is still a miracle worker. Amen. He's still a miracle worker. So how'd you feel about cooking for a change?
For a change.
I mean, yeah, when you ever cook this much?
I mean, I haven't.
That's
But like I
okay.
said, just God
Yeah,
is changing my
yeah,
testimony.
yeah. So
I used to didn't like to cook. I still don't like it.
mhm,
But I have to, we have to eat, and I don't
yeah,
want us going out. So
yeah. So it's all good. But hey, we're here by the grace of God, having a little fun, a little fun. Hope everybody's been blessed and enjoying. I want you to know God is still blessing us, and God is still good all the time. And all the time, God is good. And we're going to get through this together by the grace of God. If you're watching, won't you send this link to somebody, particularly if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, send the link send the link somewhere. Like it, please like it as much as you can. Like it. Get those likes up so our team who's been working hard, they're providing content almost every 3 hours. They blow my mind. I'm just completely blown away. But we're just trying to minister and serve digitally. So would you please just let us know where you're watching from? Send the link out. Send the link out. Let them know that Hope TV. And I want you to follow us too. If you're on social media, you can follow us at Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram at the Hope TV. At the Hope TV. So stay there. Stay there to keep informed about more program that's coming. We got one more program coming tonight. We got a segment called A Movie and a Message. I was going to re-air a service that I did, a movie that I wrote a couple years ago. And so it's going to air at 10 tonight, so you can stay tuned. We're going to come on and watch it again. I'm excited tonight. We got two great people here tonight. The first couple, I met them about 15 years ago when they were in Miami, Florida, preaching on revival. He was working for New Shiloh there, and he was the one who had all the arrangements and took us all around town and
made us laugh.
made us laugh. Had kindred spirits, and he and his wife became family. And he's pastoring there in Pompano Beach, Florida. He's a great media mind. He's doing a lot of technology, and he and his wife just wrote a book together, co-wrote a book together. He was with us last week with some other powerful couples. We didn't get a chance to talk about his book last week, so I want to get him back so he can kind of talk about the book. But I speak of none other than Pastor Nate and Kim Austin. They're coming all the way in from South Florida. Welcome to Austin family. Thank y'all for being a part.
Hello, hello. How are
Hello,
you?
hello. This I think it's
Good.
already April 2nd by now. On the way to
Yeah, April
time,
2nd. I think
time is
you're
moving. Yes, I think it's April 2nd.
you're about
I
right.
think we just missed the date.
And I
Yeah.
and I'm praying for you, Kim, because you hemmed up with this dude all for 2 weeks. I'm really praying for you because I know you need some prayer right now. So I'm praying for you in the
He said,
whole.
The book said he'll provide a way of escape, but he hadn't been a man of his word yet. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. She
Yeah,
is cooking.
and
Dewey, she is
she
cooking.
cooking all
Uh,
right.
yeah,
God. The
that
Bible said I would
spirit,
do a
that
new
spirit is
thing. I don't know
moving.
what I
She's
man. I
doing
don't
it,
know what's going
man.
on
that's
around here.
not mine. I don't have a problem with cooking. I don't like
Listen,
it, but
man,
I don't have a problem with it.
She can
dude.
do it though.
I've
She
been
can do it.
look, man. I've been in this house almost 16 years, almost 17 years, and my stove still had plastic on it where it ain't been used. So I'm
Well,
just shocked, man.
Who it is?
Yeah, I'm really still
yeah,
had plastic on it. So by the grace of God,
right.
God still, if she's got that widow woman, she gave the prophet some oatmeal and some grits. So to God be the glory. That's
Good
working
God.
miracle work. So
Good God.
glad to
Good
have
God.
y'all. And this a second couple that's here. It's amazing. You know how long have we been knowing them? My goodness. Um,
Since y'all were babies.
yeah, he's my friend, one of my best friends in the whole world, one of my closest friends who I trust, native of Mansfield, Louisiana, and he's a graduate of Grambling State University and moved to Atlanta to go to the Interdenominational Theological Center, Morehouse School of Religion. And he moved here to go to Morehouse School of Religion, ITC, to do his graduate work while I was still finishing my undergrad at Morehouse College. And we became the best of friends. And we were roommates. We roomed together. We were roommates about 3 years. Yeah, we were roommates, and that's when you know you really can be friends with somebody when you can be roommates. We were college roommates. He and another Pastor Payne, Pastor Marable.
And he had the biggest room.
Yeah, he had the biggest room. Yeah, he did. He drove that black line. Remember? He was traveling back and forth. Worked for Dr. Johnny Hatney, and he's been pastoring at the Destiny World Church since 1992. 93. So over almost 27, 28 years, and was blessed to marry his lovely bride about 12 years ago. It's been 12 years. Maybe 12 years. 13 years. But anyway, and his lovely wife, so he's a pastor, he finished his master's, an entrepreneur, thinker, writer, thought leader. He's on several corporate boards. We've done business together. He's just a philanthropist who married an incredible woman who's an entrepreneur. She's done a lot in terms of education and trying to advocate for educational options here in Georgia. Works with a lot of local municipalities to help them do readiness processes. Just an incredible couple. We're glad to have with us Pastor Wilbur and Mrs. Kim Purvis. They're with us tonight as well. What's up, fam?
Hey.
What's going on?
Y'all
What's
good?
going on? Man,
Good.
you sound like you know me better than I know me.
Perv, you moved here in 1990, bro.
Like an elephant.
Right.
You got a memory like an elephant, man.
Amen.
Well,
For good or for bad.
Dude, we were on the third floor in Bennett Hall at ITC.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I was in room 307, and you and Mary was on 311.
Oh, boy.
Now, how
And
you
we
remember all
moved.
that?
That was in 1990.
Tell it.
That's right. What else?
You don't remember that,
What
bro?
was that little brown car you used to drive?
Toyota Corolla Tercel, 1981. And man, so Perv, it's been 30 years. You know what, Perv? I don't know if you remember this. Perv, when you preached in Georgia for the first time, when you came here to Atlanta for school, you know who the first person you preached for in Georgia?
That was that Beulah Land.
See if you remember that.
That was that
talking
Lip Beulah Land. That was that Lip Beulah Land.
That was in 1990, bro. So think about
Wow.
this. So we've been partners. I mean, we might be 30 years this year, man. So to God be the glory.
Wow.
And
Been a great ride.
and then
Been a great ride.
and you and Kim got married in 2000, and we were here. So it's been 11, 12 years.
12 years. 13 this year.
Yeah.
13
13
in
this year.
September.
As I
We
said,
were blessed to be
13.
able to share that
Yep.
moment with you as well on the shores of the Caribbean Ocean
Yeah.
over in
We
Jamaica.
were down there.
Yes,
we
sir.
were there
You
when
did-
we-
you did the
Yep.
ceremony.
We had a good time down there. Got
Yeah,
in the
real
water,
good time.
man. Y'all looked amazing. And Kim, you
Yes,
still
sir.
like a young lady and like a little girl. So my brother must be treating you right.
He's doing all right.
That's good. That's good. You want to ask him something? You know, I want to talk about that. Both of you. To welcome both of y'all. Perv, I want to start with you because your story. You know, when you moved here, you were pastoring and church growing, and I remember having some conversations prior to you getting married. I mean, go back years, because I got married real early. I was the first
Right.
amongst Marable, and it's me, then then Marable, then you.
Right.
But I remember part of your concern getting married was because the church had begun to grow, and you were pastoring as a single guy, and you were concerned, as a lot of people are, that if I get married, what effect, what impact is this gonna have on the ministry? Because people have
Right.
gotten to know me as a single pastor. So getting
Right.
married, You know, what kind of impact? How will this work out? How will Kim be able to maneuver with the parishioners?
Right,
Tell us how you
right,
feel about that. I want to hear from you and hear from Kim in terms of how that process went, perhaps as a couple or somebody who's doing their own thing individually, because both of you
right,
had your own worlds and doing
right.
very well. But then when you come into the church, it's a different kind of story. So tell us, I want to hear from both
Absolutely.
of you. How did that process go? What did you do? What did Kim do to make it effective?
Right, right.
Go ahead.
it, it was a challenging time. Of course, I pastored 12, 13 years as a single pastor. And so all my church knew was a single pastor. And then we grew together. You know, it was a small 2 or 3 family church. And, you know, we grew and was having a good ride. But of course, the Bible says he that finds a wife finds a good thing. And so, you know, the urge and the desire to be married came along. And I was nervous. It had some impact. You know, to be honest, we lost some people. There were some people there who were, you know, looking around, trying to see who was going to be the person. And so there were some people who left. There were some people who didn't continue the journey. But the truth is, once I did get married, I started to attract a different type of crowd. You know, a more mature crowd that was there for the right reasons. I appreciate both seasons though. Both of them were great seasons. And but again, it did attract a different crowd. And you know, Kim helped the process. Kim was very laid back, easygoing kind of person, and so she made the transition easy. She helped us get over the hump. You know, she was a very likable person, very, you know, friendly person. So she didn't come in. It wasn't hard for people to adjust to her. And so that helped the process. And, you know, now I look back on it, man, I was nervous about who was going to be there, who wasn't going to be there. But as I look back on it today, it was one of the best moves I ever made was to decide to join forces with her, to become a team. And we have not looked back.
That's precious. I also think it was very helpful that I wasn't a complete stranger. You know, I was there, I was serving in ministry, I was very active and involved. So for the people who were there and were there for the right reasons and loved and supported him, I think it made the transition a lot smoother. That they knew me, they knew, you know, they knew who I was, they knew my personality, my character, etc. And
in fact, that was one of the things that she said to me. I'll never forget. I remember it like yesterday. I remember, you know, having these types of conversations where, like, babe, what's going to happen? You know, what's going to be the outcome? I'm nervous about it. And she prophetically said these words. She said, the people who are there for you, for the right reasons and who love you are going to be there. And the people who are not there for the right reasons and don't really care for you, they're not going to be there. And you know, those are not the kind of people that you want there in the first place.
right.
And she was so right. There were some who left. But then there were some who drew nearer and became more connected and more supportive. And so, again, we haven't looked back. It's been a great ride.
And I'm grown now.
Yeah, that's great.
That was 13 years ago.
Yeah, Nate Kim, we're gonna come back and keep it up. Nate Kim, let me ask you a question because your journey was a little different because before you went to Zion, you guys were already married, in relationship. And you know, friends, married, and you had your son too, I think.
He was in the building. He was in the building.
So I remember. So can you talk about those? Yeah. So what I want to hear from both of you is how is that process? You know, going into a new situation where they didn't know either one of you. For the pastor, I'm talking to pastors. We get a lot of questions from pastors who got different situations. So that's why I'm asking these questions up front for the pastors who have both situations. They can kind of get some insight from you.
Our situation was very unique. Our son, Noah, who happens to share the same birthday as Dr. Smith, he was in her building when we arrived at Zion in 2011. What was very interesting about our situation was, and you know, Pastor Smith knew where we came from a lot larger ministry, going to a smaller context, and to be quite honest, it was a faith journey for us financially. When we got to Zion, financially, we had to take a huge step back financially. And I really didn't want to go based upon the fact that knowing that after talking to them, they kind of wanted somebody to be full time, knowing that the church was not able to do some things for us that I was used to. But she really spoke to me and said that, you know, number one, she knew that this was the place for us and that God would provide. And to be quite honest, God did just that. We arrived there in February of 2011. And by the time we arrived at June, I never shall forget, Deacon called me while I was actually still in the delivery room. And I thought he was checking on our child. And he said to me, I never shall forget this conversation. He said, we've been praying about a pastor. We've been praying about growth, and God has allowed us to grow. And we want you to name your package. Give us a package. We want to make sure that every need is met. We're going to do the very best that we can. And so God really honored that. And he really honored that through the woman of God. I never in my wildest dreams, we stepped out on faith, going to a situation, no insurance. She was a school teacher, really could not afford to get the family plan based upon what we we're going to be making. And literally God provided, not because of my faith, but he provided for the woman of God faith. And so as Kim is kind of saying, it must be a Kim thing that they kind of have that. But as far as coming to the church, we had a different type of crowd. My crowd is very guarded when it comes to us. Of course, anybody that knows Kim knows that she doesn't need a guard. She's her own bulldog. And so I don't have that crowd. Anybody that walks into Zion knows that the pastor is off limits. They take one look at her, and if they came with that agenda, they're gonna walk right back out the door. And so we've always attracted the mature crowd, the crowd that really just came to the church for all the right reasons. And she plays a big role in that. But she's always been very instrumental in every step I've ever made in ministry and in my personal life. That's good. Good. All right.
So Kim, to both Kims, I'll start with Kim Austin first. Kim, how did you guys adjust to being the quote first lady end quote?
We came from a very traditional church. So by growing up in the church, I had a lot of feel for being next to and sitting next to the First Lady, Mother Jackson, wife of the late Arthur Jackson Sr. And one of the things that she always spoke to me and spoke and said was, always remember who you are and be yourself, no matter what it is or whatever the situation. Be yourself, because if you are your authentic self, then you can always be able to make adjustments and move as you feel and as you see comfortable. So going into Zion, even though it's a different atmosphere from what I was used to, I already knew who I was. One of the things that Lady Kim said was she had a heart of ministry. I think her husband said that. So us growing up in the church, and that was the key for both of us with making our adjustment. We already came with the heart of ministry. And so the people was able to see that, and the people was able to feel that. And we went in knowing who we was and what our purpose and our goals were in ministry. So that kind of made the transition easier for both of us and the church as well.
She has been herself in the traditional Baptist church. I don't think she's ever worn a hat. She sings on the praise scene sometimes in tennis shoes. She's been herself, man, and they love her. The seniors love her. So she stayed true to herself. And so God has really blessed us because of that.
What about you, Kim Purvis?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I actually feel this very similar. I grew up in church. My mom was an evangelist. My stepfather was a minister, so I grew up in all different types of churches, Baptists, what they call back then holiness. So I'm a church girl. I know church. I sang quartet. So church is what I do. But one of the things I wanted to be real clear about was I am not a traditional person. So, I don't mind wearing a hat, but I'm not wearing a hat. I didn't want to sit on the front row. Not a whole lot of that. I just wanted to do exactly what she said, is be myself. I feel like, having a heart for Christ, having a heart for people is enough for whatever it is you're doing in life. And in this instance, it just so happened to be, the pastor's wife, first lady. So still just being myself is enough.
I want to ask, I guess both of you this, but I know that, the purpose is, you both, when you came together and got married, you both had children. How have you been able to balance, the ministry, your own relationship, and also the things that you've been doing? Kim, you always at the state capitol doing something. Purpose. You got 3 or 4 entrepreneurial pursuits that you're involved in, corporate boards.
Right.
How are you managing to find time for teenagers, the church, each other, and entrepreneurship on both sides? How are you guys navigating that? Because I think that's a question that a lot of people are asking. And you do it. You both do it seamlessly and so beautifully. So I think that'd be a good question that many people have. How are you navigating it?
I think one of the things we do is, every pastor needs a Sabbath as well. You need a time that you set aside, 1 for your own relationship with God, 2 for family, your kids and all that. And so Mondays is just that for me. I guard it. I do a great job of guarding Mondays. Monday is time that it's for me. It's for my family. So you can't. I encourage my church, my staff. Listen, unless the building is on fire and y'all couldn't get in touch with the fire department, don't call me on Monday. That's my time away. That's our time for family. Wednesdays, we have set aside for the 2 of us. On date night. The Bible said on Wednesdays, it's no kids. It's just us, and we guard that. So on Wednesdays, 8:10, 8:15, we running out the door. And so we're going to dinner. We're hanging out. We're laughing. Just for time for us. And so I think making that a priority and sticking to it,
Right.
not letting anything come up, invade that,
In that
has really been helpful.
Yeah, you have to be absolutely intentional about it, especially when you have 2 busy people. The same way that you make time for work or anything else, you have to carve out that time for what's important. And so we try to do something for just the 2 of us as well as something as a family that's, like a standard.
I think guarding that for the kids as well is very important. There are a lot of things that pastors do on Saturdays that can sometimes you can get somebody else to do that. You can share the load, being open to sharing the load with other people, so that you can attend some of the football games and basketball tournaments and piano recitals and all the things that our children are involved in, and being committed to that. I want my church to know that my family is my first priority, not Destiny World Church. My family is first priority. And I think our church has done a great job of assisting and helping us with that. And the people who are on our team have helped us to remain committed to that.
And the Austin family, I think, Andre, we see you guys. Kim's nephew was just one of our great University of Georgia football standouts. Go Dogs. Not Hurricanes, but go Dogs. And her nephew, DeAndre Baker, from
Georgia
Miami,
fan for 4
who
years.
just got drafted in the first round last year by the New York Giants, playing cornerback.
Yes.
He played. That's Tim's nephew. He's from Miami and South Florida, but he played for my Dogs here in Athens. And I noticed that a lot of times, I never seen y'all do that, but that's several times, Nate. You missed church on Sunday, and you going. I couldn't believe that. I thought the man of God was. I mean, you were here. I mean, I found out you came with your every other weekend traveling. I mean, how did that come about? I mean,
We, our situation is very unique. Kim and I, we now have a, similar. We now have a business together, and one of the things I'm going to say as a caveat. When you are in business together as a husband and wife, people always think that that's a marvelous thing. I tell people all the time, if you're going to be in business with your wife, you have to like your wife. No, you have to like them. We think it's all about love, but you have to actually like the person. We're together. This quarantine thing, doesn't phase us. We're together 20 hours a day on our entrepreneurship. And what happens with that, we run a business, a lot of sales and $250,000 that you kind of oversee in business that has nothing to do with the church. And so I have several roles in her life. I'm her pastor, I'm her husband, I'm her baby's daddy, I'm her boss. And sometimes those things can intertwine. Mm-hmm. I can fuss, or well, we said we're gonna be candid. I can cuss in the area of business, and then after that, I want to be a husband, right. But she can't get over the fact that the boss just did that. And so Dr. Smith, you said it so many times, I've adopted it, that we'll never find balance in what we do. But what we have to do is to manage the imbalances. And so we try to make sure that when we see something that's off kilter, we feel like we spend too much time dealing with business and not church, or church and not our family. We try to make sure that we balance those things out. Because we have two little children, we don't necessarily have a day anymore, but we make sure that at least once a week we find a day, we pre-find that day so that we can spend more time with each other. Because if not, you can get just lost in so many different things that you will forget about ourselves. And we have 20 years together, 17 years of marriage. And so it's easy to just kind of hide into that, but we still try to make sure that we make that a priority.
Well said.
Kim Austin. Kim Austin. Do you recommend couples do business together?
So rolling with her was easy.
Say it again.
Yeah.
What you say?
Do you recommend that? Do you recommend couples to go in business together? Do you recommend that?
Do I recommend? Yeah, I recommend you do what works for you as a couple, but definitely understand and know your boundaries and your balance, and set your relationship goals, and know where you want to take the business, and have everything planned. You definitely have to have a plan. But I want to say this. It is so ironic. Our biggest struggle is our children. Like he said, we have younger children, and we always, I don't know if that's you guys' story. I know most of your children are older. Bless your hearts. Our children being younger, I try to explain. I don't want to say a selfish spirit, but men tend to want pastors. I'm just saying, want y'all time and to be all about y'all and everything, which is fine. You're entitled to that when you want it to be about you. And by us having children, small children, I have to fight and kind of juggle sometimes and let him know these children need this time or whatever. And I think my children do kind of take a hit. So sometimes from their dad, trying to get him to understand, he talk about the balance, but the balance kind of work another way when it comes to the children.
What she's saying is the children sometimes get in the way.
No, your way.
They get in my way. They get in my way. They get in my way. They keep my deal. They just get in the way. And so sometimes I'm like, man, forget the children.
Pray for my children.
They're standing in the way.
We've been there. We've all been there.
And, you get a small space. You get a small pocket of time. And they just always seem to know when that pocket of time is. I'm trying to say it without saying it. They got a radar. You got two sons.
Yes,
did they get in your way, man?
I mean, here's what I learned a long time ago. Those two gonna come first for her. So I learned how to get in what I fit in, dude. I I know who run the house. I know who in charge, and it ain't me. So
how many years it took you to get to that point?
But listen, marriages go through stages. Like my first 5 years of marriage were all about him. My next 5, I had to all about Kamari. My next 5 were all about Kamari and Kyle. It goes in stages, Pastor. Your time is coming again. Just be patient.
Just stay busy. Just stay busy, man. Just stay busy.
Come back around.
Right.
Since we're on the subject of families, Purvis and Kim, can you guys share with our audience? A lot of people ask questions about blending their families, and you guys have done an amazing job blending with your blended family. Can you talk about that and how you were able to navigate, blending the families? Because you guys are just like awesome examples of that.
I think because our children were so young, it helped to make it a lot easier because they literally grew up together. So they naturally developed their own relationship, and that helped a great deal. And interestingly, my daughter's personality is like his, and our son's personality is like mine. Like he and I are the extroverts, and they're the introverts, and it just works. Then it also helped by all of the adults being adults. I think we've been blessed to have really good co-parenting, the two of us along with our children's other parents, and so it really, once all the adults were on one accord, the children were easy. And we've been blessed to be able to have them in the same home. Like right now with the coronavirus, everybody's talking about, I can't do nothing. And I absolutely love it. It's our daughter's senior year. She's going to be going off to college. And so I'm grateful that, we're all here together, cohabitating. And we get this special time to spend together because, it changes. It changes as they grow. And so we've been really blessed and fortunate to have great kids, great co-parents, and God to make it all work.
That doesn't mean we hadn't had some bumps in the road, but we worked through those times, and I think she made a great point. All the adults decided to be adults, and we set the example for our kids, and it's really been a great ride together.
Yeah,
it works. We are poster childs. We are proof that blended families can work.
absolutely.
We are.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I want to ask you both a question. We got a question. I want to get something from online. Audrey Jackson Stevens asked this question. I assume she's a pastor's wife, perhaps. How do you handle when people want to put your wife in a box, but she still has a life? For instance, pastor's wife should have their arms out. Certain things. Wife having, wearing the hats, sitting with the mothers. I remember when I came to Great Travelers Rest 16 years ago, and women wore closed-toe shoes and they wore stockings. And
Lord
so,
My,
Jesus.
And dresses.
and dresses. We follow a very distinguished couple. My predecessor, a very distinguished gentleman, his wife, Miss Ivy Collins Shepherd, just the epitome of class and elegance and older couples. So here we are coming in much more contemporary. Andrea hates anything that looks formal. She can dress up when she has to. She hates that. So 3 months into the church, she's wearing stockings and pants and stockings and suits and dresses every week, which was not our experience coming from our first church. And third month, after 3 months of going there, one day I'm going to church and she just says, she comes to the car with a pantsuit on. I'm like, where you going with this on? I'm going to church with you. If I can't go like this, I'm not going no more. And what happened the next Sunday? So she wore pants. So that's probably the first time they ever seen a pastor's wife wear a pantsuit in that church, probably in the history of the church. I know 50 years, because I know Miss Shepherd wouldn't have ever worn a pantsuit. So on a Sunday morning, I'm the new pastor of the church, and my wife busts up in there with a pantsuit on. I ain't never been so scared in my life. What happened the next week, though?
Well, the next week, everybody else, we had this mantra after that: free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. Then all of the women just start wearing pants, and it became more, of a relaxed atmosphere. All of the pretenses were gone. It just relaxed the whole atmosphere.
So, needless to say, they accuse me of desecrating that church, and I may have in this Jezebel. So we just totally justified the church. But I want to know how have you both handled that when people have had expectations of the pastor's wife? You can't wear your arms out. You can't wear jeans. And you can't do this.
Oh,
How
wow.
have you dealt with that? If so, to answer Audrey's question, how have you dealt with it?
I know we
I
dealt
think, I
with it.
think,
Go ahead. Go ahead,
I
Pastor.
think, I think you set the model for it, Doc, because there was a period of time you said that Andrea was wearing the things that the church was accustomed to. I think that allowed the church to some degree to get to know her heart, to understand who she was,
Mhm.
develop a love for you guys. But then y'all got to a point where y'all could turn the corner and be what Kim said earlier, be authentic. And nobody can beat you for being authentic and being yourself. If you're gonna love me for who I am, not for who I'm not.
Right.
And I think that's really what people want in church, man. They want authenticity. Just be you,
Right.
be real, and
Right.
people will buy into that. I think you
Right.
guys, y'all did it perfectly. I think that works.
It's a teachable moment too, because it frees other people. I think as leaders, you have to get naked so other people can get naked. I tell them, I got tattoos, I do this, I do that, and that's okay. And then teach on it too, because a lot of the things and preconceived notions that we have are our own. They're not biblical.
Then
So
why you had to use that model though? Naked. Why you talk about that?
I'm just saying you get naked so that the people can get
I
naked.
was
Just
enjoying that
being
church.
authentic and fair and original is all that I'm saying.
I'm back.
See,
I was
and
getting ready
that's
to come to
tweetable.
Atlanta.
See, tweetable. Leaders, you get naked so that the people can get naked. They can be their authentic true treasures,
Man. Preach on, sister.
and not feel like they have to, be fake and phony. It's okay to be you.
That's right.
That's
I think
awesome.
one
Yeah,
of
Kim
the
Austin.
one of the things, I don't, just to be candid here, I think our church, they hadn't had a first lady in so long, they didn't know what to expect. So I had a kind of advantage to that. And I was going in there pregnant. So it's like, okay, let this pregnant woman be who she is.
Well,
so
fit. So
yeah, well, we're fit. But one of the things I think is important, which I could say I admire my husband for, and you, Pastor Smith, is you have to set the mold and the model for how you want your wife to be accepted. They're going to accept your wife as you accept them, or how you present. And my husband was very upfront with, this is my wife, this is who we are, how we came here together, and this is our family. So if you accept me, you accept my wife. If you accept my wife and me together, you accept our family, as we are. And by having us as their first family, those that wanted us there, you had to trust that this is who we really want. So we kind of had to just go from there and just set the mold and the model for what we wanted the church to be.
and that's how we were able to get away all those Sundays, go to Georgia football games, because she basically told them, my nephew playing, we going, and that's about it. And so they kind of accepted that, and the whole church.
Everybody was a dog fan.
The whole church became Georgia Bulldog fan, and they had their own draft party and stuff, because she made it perfectly clear, we ain't gonna be here during this football season. I'm gonna watch my nephew play. But we were able to set that tone. Again, we were able to kind of ride that pregnancy thing out, if you would. And so by the time she, had the baby, she was like, well, I haven't worn stockings. I don't know if I've ever worn stockings at Zion. You wear stockings now. They
didn't make them for pregnant women.
They might put us out if you, So we set that tone, and she kind of just never went back to that model. And so to this day, she can walk in there with tennis shoes, jerseys, whatever, and they accept her. And so I believe that they will follow. You don't own no church clothes. You own like 2 dresses. That's about it. Whatever. But and so we did that, and so it's been working for us ever since. It's been working for us.
Here's another question, and I'm going to ask you something. This is from Richard. I think this is my member. And this question is to both of you. This is from Richard. And I think but he has younger kids, but I still want both of you to answer. And the question is, how do you keep it spicy while balancing ministry and entrepreneurship? How do you keep your marriage spicy while you're trying to balance ministry and trying to balance entrepreneurship? So that's both of you. He has young kids, but I want both of you to kind of give your insight.
NyQuil. NyQuil. Heavy dose of NyQuil. Benadryl and NyQuil. Mix it together, man.
My children are immune to
that. Cocktail.
All things work together for the good. But God created this wonderful thing called grandparents, and we have to make those appointments, and you have to be good to your in-laws. and to your aunt, your aunties, because they are your saving grace when it comes to wanting to get some things accomplished and done. And so, we keep them happy. We make sure they get birthday presents and Christmas, and when we need that getaway, we call them.
That's
and
right.
we make it happen.
Now nobody don't want our kids with the
Now
quarantine going on.
that quarantine.
Right.
I'm trying to tell them they ain't got it. They ain't answering the phone right now, but it's all right.
Purview and Kim.
I would probably say, in addition to that, taking advantage of the extended family as well. Some people may not have, like me. My mom is in Louisiana, so
My folks are deceased, so
yeah. So
we had to be creative.
We've never been able to take advantage of grandparents like that.
Right.
But we have been able to take advantage of extended family. Friends of our friends of our kids' friends, of parents of those kids,
and our nana.
Yep, and Nana, yep.
I've got an adopted family. I came here without parents, and so there were some people who just jumped in, and I welcomed that. I checked them out. I went to their home and checked the background and character and all of that. But use the resources that are available to you, and when you can't find those resources, you just have to be extremely creative.
And in addition, on that same note, you kind of have to give a little to get a little. By that I mean, sometimes when our kids were younger, the sleepover was at our house. But then we were planting
Next
seeds.
month.
Yeah, next month it's y'all's time now, which gave us time to be adults. Praise the Lord.
And sometimes during the workday while the children are at school, you have to plan time. You got to be really creative. Get a sick day,
Right.
Both of you. You guys been so awesome. I appreciate it. This question is, how do you work through major issues in your marriage when you're not on the same page? How do you get through issues when you're not on the same page? How do you get through issues between yourselves when you're at each other's throats? What have you guys done to kind of work through problems, work through issues? For those who maybe, because trust me, some people are home right now, they're sick of each other already. So, so how do you work through those issues when you have those problems?
Right now, you just got to get over it, man. It's nothing you can do, man. You can't leave. You can't leave. You can't leave if she get mad at night. In Miami, they got a curfew, so if you get mad at night and go outside, you're gonna go to jail. So you gotta get over it.
Get over it.
But that goes back to what I talked about earlier, when we have so many different roles in our lives, and sometimes we could talk about one issue, whether it's business or something that she didn't do as a church, and she didn't think that she had to do it because she heard me say it as her husband and not as her pastor. And so we just have to, make sure. But ultimately, at least for me, I just have to get over it because I'm not going to win anyway. So I just have to just get over it and move on. Really. She can go in isolation, solitude like nobody.
Still in this house.
Purposes. How do you get through the storms in marriage? That's from Rodney McDonald. How do you get through the storms in your marriage?
I am a huge encourager of people. Everybody should get therapy. I think you just need somebody outside of yourself, particularly when you're dealing with people who are leaders. We feel like we know, and we don't, my way is my way, and what I've been doing that's working for me and all this kind of thing. But I think having an outside person just to kind of, even if they don't help you find the solution, to give you tools to fight fair, so that you know how to have an honest conversation once everybody's calm and settled. In times like these of quarantine, if you have a fallout, somebody just got to go to another area. Go to your corner. We'll come out swinging later, but right now, sometimes you just need time to calm down, think it through, and use your tools.
I would say, in addition to that, I think you have to have a good memory and a bad memory. You have to have when you're going through tough times, you need a good memory to remember the good times. You know, to remember the times of laughter, to remember that that's your friend that you're talking about. Remember that this is the person that you made a lifelong commitment to. Then you need a bad memory to be able to forget the bad. I think sometimes we make the mistake of remembering things we ought to forget and forgetting things that we ought to remember. You know, one thing about my wife is she has the ability to move on. Whereas sometimes when I'm angry and upset, I can hold on to it. And I can get stuck in that one place.
And then I got so much preaching. Boy, it's like taking the poison, waiting for me to die, but you drink it.
Right.
What you trying to say?
Right. So I think, being able to forgive quickly, to move on quickly, as Pastor said, is beneficial to everybody.
Now, I have a statement for
That's
Andrea.
great.
How does that work? He talked about bad memories and good memories, but how does it work for Andrea? Because she's married to Elephant Man. He don't forget anything. I don't understand. I don't understand how that works for her. But
I practice amnesia.
Okay, because he remembers what you did, in '85.
Yes. Yeah.
No, he remembers what I did in 75.
Right.
That's true.
He remembers
Oh,
the time.
It's a blessing. It's a curse. It's a blessing and it's a curse. It's like if I read something, when I read it one time, it's like it's a paragraph that's stuck in my head, and I can just quote it. It's a blessing. And it's a blessing. My memory is a blessing. It's a curse because Pastor Purve just said we remember the things we should forget. We forget the things we should remember. But I'm that dude. You make me mad, I stay mad forever, and I find something to do, and you ain't got to never talk to me. I'm fine. And I think something I got to work through. I think it's because I don't like
Confrontation.
I don't like argumentation. I don't like confrontation. But I will be confrontational. But I just rather I don't know. I just maybe I need some help. But I would just I like peace.
You'll stay mad for days.
Yeah. I don't do the back and forth and all the arguing and all the. I grew up. I guess I grew up with all that. So anything that resembles that, I don't do that way. I don't. She'll tell you I'm not an argumentative person. Only time I get loud is when I'm in church at a ball game or having fun. But I don't believe in all that. No, I don't believe in that. I don't. I believe your house supposed to be peaceful, but just because you're not confronting things, don't mean it's necessarily peace either. You know what I mean? But I don't like. So I may not be the best person to ask for that. So y'all are giving some good.
But on the other hand, I'm like you, Kim. I want it to be over. Like I don't have time to be mad. Life is too short to be mad to me. So if I offended you, just tell me. Let's just move on because I have like a 15-minute like mad window. Anything we can handle it in 15 minutes. And then we can just move on. Let's go back to having fun. Because I just like having fun. I just like, I'm not a serious person. So everything is just like, it just blows off of me. It's like, whatever. Let's just move on. Next page. That's just me. That's just the way I grew up. It's like, don't.
But now, don't let all this easy talk. I mean, she's forgiven. Right. Absolutely, that's the only way you can she can make me forgiven. But she can get at you. But she can get at you now. You tell you what,
it doesn't last long.
Do some of them boys
and
all this easy and you do some of them boys and see what happens.
I saw her at a basketball game in the ref made a bad call. I thought she was going. I was at the game. I remember. I thought I was going to hold her back. The ref didn't blow the whistle. I thought she was going to kill that man. So yeah, the boy. I think it's the boys. You do something to them, she know how to get it. Yeah.
That's right.
Well, one thing we all love sports and outdoors. Everybody, and one thing that I've seen, like Nate, you and Kim, you've been involved in sports and following DeAndre's career. And by the way, I haven't got no Giants tickets to no football games. I'm just throwing it out there. I haven't got one ticket to either Cowboys. Right. I'm just throwing it out there since your nephew playing for.
But they're giving away tickets in New York right now. You can get a New York ticket right now. They're giving them out.
Y'all can have them.
That's okay. But
are you a New Orleans Saints fan? You're from Louisiana? I'm assuming you're a Saints fan.
No, I'm a Falcons fan.
What in the? Jesus.
And I'll explain that because
I'm a Saints
everybody
fan.
gonna get 100 texts
When
tonight.
I heard you was from Louisiana, you had a little bit of sense, but you like the dirty
No, no,
birds.
no, no. I grew up in North Louisiana, and in North
Okay.
Louisiana, everybody was. I was 15 minutes from the Texas line, so I grew up a Cowboy fan. That's what my
So
dad
y'all
was.
showing up friends then. You're Cowboy and Falcons fan.
Absolutely.
That's why I can't give you any
But one,
Giants tickets, man. You gonna root for the Cowboys, man. We can't have that, man. We can't have that.
I know the
Same
Falcons too.
division.
But
Right.
Pastor Purvis, one thing that I've been noticing that you've been doing is you've been very involved in coaching your son's team, which I think is so impressive because I've seen you, go from a board meeting at the bank or some other civic group, and in the
Yeah.
morning, church teaching Bible study, and that evening, you on a basketball court on the football field. Tell us about that.
Yeah.
Why is that? How did you come to that estimation? Why is that important for you?
Well, I think it goes back to the question I asked earlier. How do we prioritize things? And so I had to figure out a way to kind of kill two birds with one stone. They say kids spell love in a strange way. They don't spell it Love, they spell it Time. And so it just afforded me an additional opportunity beyond church, beyond the four walls of our house, to spend time on the sidelines. It's something that both of us enjoyed. And, those are times that I'll never forget. It allowed us to bond, to develop. I could reflect back on my old sports career, as well as just, most importantly, spend time with kids. And so just the time factor, it just, it allowed us to bond as a father-son.
Was that something that Kim helped you with, or something that you came to on your own?
Kim was a nurturer. And so, she pushed me in that regard. It was a team effort, which is I think the beauty of marriage. You got somebody who can fill in the blanks for you. The places where I'm missing it as a father, as a husband, as a leader, where I'm strong, she's weak. Where I'm weak, she's strong. And so that connection, that teamwork has really helped us and helped me, most importantly, to go to the next level and be a better man, be a better husband, be a better father.
And we all love sports.
I want to ask this question. Oftentimes as pastors, people see the after picture, but they don't see the before picture. I want us to talk about, you guys to talk about, like Destiny World Church used to be Mount Sinai. We didn't have
Correct.
a whole lot of people at Destiny World Church. At Mount Sinai.
Correct.
I can
Old
remember.
Alabama, 1970, Old Alabama Road.
There go Elephant Man. There go Elephant
They
Man.
go Elephant Man. They go Elephant Man. They go Elephant Man.
Is that right? Is that right? 1970?
You
That
got
is
it. You dead
1970?
on. Yes, sir. That.
So can you talk about the struggles from, like, I can remember times when when Smith and I were dating, when you guys stayed in Whisper Woods. You
Yes.
didn't have that nice staircase behind you at Whisper Woods. It was an iron rail outside.
Right.
So I want you to talk
right.
about the struggles before, like the before picture that you had before you guys became to the after picture. That's what it is.
Yeah. One of the blessings that I had was, I came from a small town, and I came from a small church, and so I didn't know what mega was until I came to Atlanta. So I had no expectations of pastoring a mega church. So when I went to Mount Sinai, even though people say it was small, and I could recognize it was small, but it was small like the church that I had grown up in. So, that was no mental. That was no one of the guys preached at the church before I did when I was candidating for the church, and he told me, he preached a week before I did. He said, "Man, don't go out there. That church's so small, and there's just a few people." But that's what I had come from. That's what I was accustomed to. And so I had no preset idea of what size the church should be. But looking back on it, I appreciate those days. I remember when Dewey and Maribel and I were roommates. We were there were 4 roommates at one time in a 3-bedroom apartment. We used to say whoever got there last got the couch. I
Yeah.
remember us, Andre. I remember us. I remember vividly you being in Macon, us being in Atlanta, and us going to the mailbox, getting a check that you sent, and we would take that money and go to Busy Bee and eat off the money that you sent us.
That's true. That's true. That's
So
true.
it forged friendship, it
That's
forged
true.
camaraderie, it forged persistence and ability to come up with ingenuity on how we're gonna eat, how we're gonna pay rent, how we're gonna grow these churches. Do it. I remember Dewey was the first person to set up my sound system. I didn't have no sound. This is before the days of Boyd and all those guys who do sound now. Dewey set up the first sound system. I mean, literally, we went and picked up the cassettes, bought the deck to play it on, all of that. So but it was birthed that our friendship was birthed out of that. Our love for ministry and love for just a genuine love for people was birthed out of that. And it was that small church experience, I think, that helped us to be who we are today.
That's great.
Pastor
Wow,
Nate?
I know for us, when Dewey came to preach for us in 2011, we still had the old wood paneling on the walls. I was thankful that he came, but he wouldn't recognize the place now. But one of the things that helped us, and I didn't know then, but I know it now. Although I never really desired to be at Zion due to the fact that all I knew was a larger context, it allowed us to do what we needed to do as a couple. We love to work together. We love to be innovative. We've always worked as a team. Even when I was at Shiloh, she worked with me in the media ministry. So we needed to go to a place that will allow us to work. We didn't mind getting our hands dirty. We didn't mind being involved in birthing a ministry. I believe I'm a builder by nature, and a situation that all I had to do was maintain would have been frustrating for us. And so I think that our marriage grew stronger during that period of time where we literally had to grow the church. When we went there, my first sermon there, I never really was a candidate for the church. I went there just to help serve communion. And it might have been 20 people there. And I literally remember on the way home, it was about a 30-minute drive. She said to me, "You're going to be you're going to be their pastor." And I told her, "You are absolutely crazy. There's no way I'm coming up here for 30 folks." She said, "No, you're going to be their pastor. And if they ask you to be their pastor, you're going to go." And so for me, as a soon to be pastor and a husband, it made me feel good to know that if she was willing for me to go into this small situation, not knowing how anything was going to work out, I knew that she was going to do the work and do all the dirty work and do what needs to be done to transform the church. And now we call it the Zion Church. It was Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, Pompano Beach Incorporated, when we went there in 2011. And so we've been able to transform that and become a modern ministry. And it was because we did it as a team. And so we've been able to grow that ministry. So yeah, everybody can see, they see the before, but sometimes they don't really understand the process of how I was able to get to where it is now.
I want y'all to talk a little bit about your book. You guys have given so much, and I thank you for this hour that you've shared with us. I want you to Austin to talk a little bit about your book that you wrote about love, and then Pastor Purvis and Kim Purvis, I want you to just close out, give a word of encouragement. Then a couple who may be watching, and Pastor Purvis, you lead us in closing prayer. So, but Pastor Nate, I want
Okay.
you and Kim talk about the book you guys wrote on love and marriage, and then Pastor Purvis, you and Kim close out with your final words of encouragement, and then Pastor Purvis with a closing word of prayer.
Certainly, we certainly thank Dr. E. Dewey Smith for allowing us, to move beyond friendship, to giving us this awesome opportunity to just dialogue and have a little fun. We really take marriage seriously, and God blessed us in 2017 to write a book entitled "The 10 Commandments of Love." Literally, it is taking the traditional 10 commandments that God gave Moses, and we turned it into a love language. And so many people have been blessed by the book. It was a journey. We wrote a lot of it and spending time in Georgia, as a matter of fact. But God really blessed us to write the book. It's not a long book. We wrote it for younger couples or couples that can just kind of read it together. It's more like a workshop book as well. Only 70 pages, but we've been able to be blessed. And Dr. Smith, after being on last week, we have to now start reprinting some more books because people have been asking about it, and we've been blessed. Something we did together, talked about our marriage and thou shalt nots and thou shalls, and so we've been blessed. And again, this was something that allowed our marriage to grow stronger as we began to write it.
At the time when we decided to do the book, it was a trying time for our marriage, and a lot of stuff got birthed from going through that trying time. But we made a commitment to each other that we were gonna fight and push our way through. So a lot of it was birthed. A lot of the book was birthed out of that trying time that we went through during our marriage, where we learned a lot about ourselves and a lot about each other during that time.
So literally, we took our trials and tests and turned it into a testimony, and we were able to produce. But we were literally probably on the verge of kind of throwing in the towel during that season. And so we're living witness that, as Sister Kim said earlier, get the help, get the counseling, because as pastors, you don't know it all. And if we would have given up in 2017, there's no way we would have been sitting here talking to you in 2020. So.
And a lot of our trying times, it didn't really have to do a lot with us not loving each other and not, wanting to be with each other. It was some of the struggles that marriage go through, financial struggles, family struggles, things like that. But we found a way to hunker down and understand that this is what we, like Pastor said before, made a commitment and a vow to each other. And we sacrificed a lot. And like I said, a lot other than this book and other things were birthed out of just those trying times that we went through.
So where can we get the book? Where can we find the book, Pastor Austin?
You can go to our website, our church's website, positionofprosper.org is on our homepage there. If someone's watching this, they can also put the link on the book there. Again, you can order it. You'll probably ship it out to you in the next day or so. But certainly you can visit us on our website. We'll also put it on our social media platforms as well.
Well, Kim Austin, I want to thank you for writing the book, because I know your husband ain't wrote nothing. So thank you for all the hard work you put in writing that book. I appreciate it. You're gonna bless a lot of people tonight with your efforts.
She's a school teacher by trade, so you're right. She did right. I just get put my name.
Pastor Wilbur Theodore Purvis III and Sister Kimberly Purvis, love y'all guys to life and beyond. Thank you for being family. So, any closing words of encouragement for Kim first, and then Pastor Wilbur? Any kind of closing encouragement words you want to share with the people who are watching? A bunch of people gonna watch this, and so watch.
Well, one thing I'll say to all married couples, the best advice I can give is to hang in there. There's always a reason to leave or divorce. You just don't do it. It's part of adulting and respecting the commitment that you made. Now, there are some caveats to that, and I won't get into those. I'll just say this. Make sure that you stick in there, because I think one of the biggest things that we miss in relationships when we run into a problem is we think we're the only ones having that issue. Like, I know so-and-so ain't dealing with this in their marriage. I ain't gonna let him treat me like this or whatever. When in actuality, everybody has problems and everybody faces challenges. I think where we've missed it is not discussing them. And so I try to always remain open to that when people want to have discussions and ask those questions, and being authentic and being honest and being real and vulnerable with people and letting them know, hey, we don't have it all together. We've had some really difficult times, and we've been able to go through counseling and prayer and, just having some stick-to-itness. And deciding that we're going to honor our commitment, regardless, come what may. I made this commitment before, man and everybody else and God, and I'm going to see it through.
See it through. Yes.
How would you like that?
I would close out. First of all, just thank you, Doc, for having us and Pastor them.
Yes.
We appreciate this opportunity, man. I would encourage all couples, in addition to what everybody said, is to have fun. I think Andrea hit the nail on the head earlier.
Yes.
Life is too short to be stressed and, upset and bothered and at each other's throat. Learn to have fun. Learn to enjoy one another. Enjoy your family. Even during this time of being quarantined, look for ways to have fun. We had the best time the other night. I had the best time the other night playing Monopoly, even though my wife beat me and I thought I was the king. but look for ways to have fun, man. Enjoy one another's time is short.
Yes.
We're not promised tomorrow.
Right.
And Corona is teaching us the value of family. It's making us love and connect with one another. So I would just encourage everybody to do that. I would lastly encourage pastors, man, to hang on in there. You're pastoring at an unprecedented time,
Yes.
a time that we've never seen before in our lifetime. And so I just want to encourage every pastor just to keep on keeping on. I'm rooting for you. You got from one brother to another, from three brothers to another, and sisters, to all of our sisters out there who are pastoring. Just want to encourage y'all to keep on keeping on, and keep the faith, and know that you got somebody who's praying for you and believing God with you. Let's pray together. Father, we love you. We thank you for this time of sharing. Thank you for Dr. Smith and Andrea, and for the House of Hope. Thank you for their heart, God, for people and for ministry and ministers and pastors and leaders. We just thank you, God, for all that they have shared with us, and for their example, God, that they have laid for many years, some 20 plus years, God. We give you the praise for them and for what they mean to so many of us. We just pray, God, your continued blessings upon us. Bless our country and our world, God, as we go through this difficult time. We believe, God, that the best is still yet to come. We lift our eyes to the hills from whence cometh our help. God, we believe all of our help comes from you. And so, God, we thank you in advance for victory. We thank you in advance, God, for a speedy resolution to Corona. And God, we give you praise for the church, for we believe that the church will stand and will rise and shine like never before. We love you. We praise you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen and amen.
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 Pastor Nate, Kim
Amen.
Austin, Pastor Wilbur, and Kimberly Purvis, you guys are incredible human beings. Thank you for sharing. I love you all to life, and we appreciate you. Anything you want to say to close out? Hey, we get ready to
Have a
close
good
out.
night.
Thanks for your time. Those who are watching, I hope you've been blessed by it. We're going to be back here next Tuesday night for Marriage Matters. So every Tuesday, 8:30, as long as this pandemic is happening. This is an offshoot of our marriage couples ministry and our women's ministry. So we just continue what we said we're going to do early before the pandemic. So if you're interested, have more questions, you can submit them. We appreciate it. Also, we have a new social media handle called The Hope TV that our team has started. So if you want to follow The Hope TV at The Hope TV on all things social media, just to keep abreast of the programming. We're offering like 5 different programs every day that you can watch: Apple TV,
Yes.
Roku, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, and on edoitsmith.org and on househopeatlanta.org, househopeatl.org. So just their breast, just trying to offer you something just to encourage your heart. So I appreciate you. At 10 o'clock, we're doing something called a movie and a message right here. You can watch it again. It's a movie that I wrote and produced, and hope you're blessed by it. We're rebroadcasting that, and we're back here tomorrow for more programming. But I love y'all. Always remember this: if you be good to God, then God will be good to you. Thanks for tuning in. Be blessed. We're going to make it through this, y'all. Peace.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Let's see.
We gotta watch the movie. What's the name of the movie?
It's called.
If it don't come on Facebook.